Money, respect, happiness, the American dream. We all have specific life goals, but I think we also all have one common aspiration: to give our life a sense of worth. Although there are many ways for one to be successful and to accomplish this aspiration, I think that entrepreneurship is the most common in the eyes of an American, or the most appealing, because of one reason. It's solely based on your idea. You are in charge. But let's take a few steps back for a bit. I want you to brainstorm, to look back in your brain's archives and think of all the times that you've thought of an invention or service that, in your opinion, would have been very successful. Now think of how many of those ideas you've actually pursued. I bet good money that that number is quite close to zero, and here's why. People just don't know where to start. Although it is appealing, becoming successful isn't easy. There's no step-by-step procedure for one to follow, nor are there any assurances of one's future success. However, there are ways to make it easier. When we travel, we can't teleport to our destination, but we can take easier modes of transportation like driving or flying. This is similar to the act of pursuing an idea. There are shortcuts and techniques that make your idea reaching popularity a possibility. Malcolm Gladwell, a writer from the New York Times, has invested a great deal of time into deciphering the code of success, and with his book, The Tipping Point, has placed it at your fingertips. Step 1. The Law of the Few. One of the main bridges for one to cross in regards to the journey to a successful idea is getting it out into the public. This is due in part to a very interesting paradox. When we have an idea, we tell our friends or our family, people who are close to us. This is where the problem lies. When we tell a good friend about an idea, there's a good chance that the people that they will eventually tell will be in the same social web as you. Although there's a sense of security associated with telling those close to you about something, the people who in the end effectively spread your idea are those who you don't know well, who are part of different, more diverse social groups. These people are known as connectors, people who are incredibly gifted in the realm of social interaction, who have ties to large amounts of people. The obvious challenge associated with the law of the few, however, is finding someone with the social gifts required to be an effective connector. But this is where you come in. Think of a salesman you know, a businessman, any person who has ties to hundreds of others. The main idea of the law of the few lies in its name. Once one connector gets a hold of your idea, it will spread like wildfire, and a chain reaction will occur. From the connector, it will spread through his or her vast social web, to the social webs of others, and quickly your idea will be widely known. However, this is only the beginning of your journey. Step 2, the stickiness factor. People just can't simply know about your idea. You need to make them like it as well. Take the skateboarding shoe company Airwalk, for example. In Gladwell's book, he talks about the brilliant ad campaign made by the company Lembisis for the company's shoes. This was one of the more controversial ads of the campaign. The first thing one notices is the uniqueness of the advertisement. Most advertisements are merely photos or just logos, while this is a very detailed piece of artwork. Secondly, you notice the action of the person in the image. It's a Tibetan monk cheating on a test with the answers written on his shoe. Skateboarding has always been a sport that appeals to the outcasts, people who like to express themselves and people who don't like to go with the flow of the mainstream. Airwalk's ads spoke to those types of people. On top of the monk's bad behavior, he's also disrespecting his religion by cheating and touching his feet, actions that Buddhist monks are not supposed to do. In fact, when a billboard version of this ad was put up in San Francisco, Tibetan monks protested for it to be taken down for the same reasons. I think that skaters saw themselves in that monk. They saw an outcast, someone who didn't follow the rules. The ad had, for a lack of a better term, a stickiness factor. And on the business end, the company's sales rose from 44 million to 175 million. in 2 years. You see, if you can make your idea appealing, it will reach its tipping point. But one must remember that there's a time and place for all things, which leads me to the final rule of making an idea popular: the power of context. Say Airwalk had released their ads strictly in India or another country where the sport of skateboarding is virtually non-existent. Would they have sold any shoes? Of course not. You see, the success of an idea majorly depends on the environment it is being released in. California has always been the home of skateboarding. This is exactly why Airwalk puts so much effort into advertising in cities like San Francisco. In simpler terms, for something to stick, there has to be a surface for it to adhere to. But we need to think about the big picture. Although the rules for a successful idea work in the realm of entrepreneurship, they are not restricted to that part of society. Success is simply accomplishing a goal. We need to think globally and utilize this formula for another purpose: to encourage and stimulate change. You see, activism and entrepreneurship are related to each other to an extent that they're almost identical. First, there's a problem, or in other words, an opportunity, whether it be a large demand for a certain product or an international hardship. Then, one must capitalize on the opportunity. They must produce enough goods to satisfy the needs for the public. They must provide the people in need with food, medical supplies, money, and manpower. They must restore balance and stability. I'm not here for the sole purpose of giving you advice on how to make money. I'm here to try to jumpstart that idea you had years ago that could have possibly become a major success, to give you hope that you can help people across the world. I'm here to give you a means of planning out how you could share an idea to the world so that the only thing holding you back is your will to act. I'd like to end off with something for you to think about. They say our generation will change the world. So what are you waiting for? Change it.